Hello, Growing Truth fans. It's James Ernest and Mark Fightmaster of UC Bearcats on the Prowl. Mark, what have the Bearcats been up to?
Well, the Bearcats pulled out another win this past week by, let's see, what was the final score? 28-7. Yeah, over South Florida. So they, it was a good win. Can't say it was stellar. I kind of expected a little more scoring on UC's part. But, hey, a win's a win. So we'll take it.
Yeah, I agree with you. On one hand, there's a win, and that's great. But 3 interceptions.
Yeah, and that's concerning, and so you wonder what the next step is, because, they're going to get to a part of the schedule where there's not going to be a lot of
leeway, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Leeway is a great word for it. They're not going to be able to mess around much. They're going to have a quick.
The margin of error is going to go up big time, or or go down big time. The margin.
Right.
So yeah, I agree with you. However, you know what? I don't think Fickle would change quarterbacks. It seems to be who he is. I don't think, unless something, heck, last year, he was injured, Ritter was, in one of the games, and basically had no reason to be out there, but he was, because he didn't want to change.
Right, and I agree with you, and hopefully that's not going to be, like his Achilles heel, that he sticks with somebody too long and should have made a change.
Yeah,
so we'll see.
Clearly, once again, it's a very defensive team for UC. It has been, all 3 games. The first one, I think, really was more the second team, third team guys gave up the points. And then, of course, Army, they had... It was funny, because we didn't get to talk about the Army game, so we're going to talk about that. Yeah, after that, the option play that they tried to run, which made no sense, because they're like, hey, let's try running the option against the team that studies the option more than anybody else. How about we run it against somebody who doesn't think about the option at all, not somebody who knows the option inside and out.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That was maddening.
Yeah, because they're like, oh my gosh, yeah, they got to beat them by 13, and now they're down another 7, so they're down by 20. Not that we're betting on the game, but it kind of, that was what it felt like early in the game, and then there was an interception, and actually I think it was the same guy who intercepted one of the passes that ran it back for a touchdown.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so they were doing big things early on, the Army was, and then fortunately UC, because its depth, was able to wear them down.
Yeah, and they did, and I got to tell you what, it was my feeling after the Army game. I was on a high about UC. I was like, man, you know what? That was a great game. All facets hit except for that one bad call.
Yeah.
But then, after the South Florida game, I'm sitting here like, I don't feel as good. I don't know if that makes sense, but South Florida is a team that lost to Notre Dame 55-0.
Ooh.
And Notre Dame is rated 10th in the country. I believe UC at last check is rated 15th.
Yeah.
And this is nothing against UC fans. I'm a UC fan. But, wanting to compete with the big boys like the Notre Dames, the Ohio States, and them, they have to be able to go out and blow out a team they should blow out. And I don't know. The performance against South Florida, yes, 28-7 win. That's great. Still just not what I expected.
I know what you mean.
Yeah. I hate to sound like a Debbie Downer.
Yeah.
28-7 win, you beat South Florida, you handle business, but you want to be considered one of the top tiers this year. You need to go out and handle business like the big
Exactly.
boys.
Yeah, exactly. There's a big difference. On one hand, they were in control the whole game, which they definitely were not. Because of what happened in the Army game. With the Army game, right. They were down some, and they ended up coming back. Don't get me wrong, they had control before half, so they were doing fine. But, the USF game, they had to control the whole way. It's just they didn't put their foot on the throat.
Yeah, exactly. They had a chance to, and they didn't just almost kind of take South Florida's will to play.
Exactly.
There's times where you can watch a team, they're defeated.
Oh, yeah.
By looking at how they're playing the game, and I just didn't get that sense. I'm not saying that South Florida, I thought they were in it, because they never really did.
Oh, they weren't in it, but there's a big difference between that, still having them, depending on if it was another team, the ability to come back or letting them, hang around versus what happened to UC when they played at Ohio State last year.
Right, and
that is putting your foot on someone's throat and just be like, at halftime, it don't even matter after that. They don't even need to come back and play the next half because they just aren't there anymore.
Maybe it is kind of that killer instinct, but the thing is, I'm sitting here complaining about the way UC won, and then we look, and we have to remember they had 3 turnovers.
Yep.
And the defense only gave up 7 points.
Oh, defense is amazing.
So the defense is a bright point. It's
huge.
a bright spot. And I think we're going to learn over the next few weeks is that defense going to be able to stop these high-powered air attack offenses, like a Central Florida, even like a Tulsa, or is it Tulane? I think it's Tulane that they play this week. You know what? We've been doing this podcast for how many years? I still can't get Tulsa and Tulane.
I know what you mean. It is one of those things. Yeah, I was going to say, fortunately, it's okay because it doesn't really matter. But I know what you mean. It does. They have that feeling where they're just very interchangeable.
Yeah, it's Tulsa.
Yep.
But
it's Tulsa.
So we're going to see if their defense can put together a stop on the air attack. Yes, they stopped Navy or Army. Army is a ground game.
Yep.
Yes, they stopped South Florida. South Florida's not good.
Yeah.
So now let's see if they can build on this, because Tulsa beat Central Florida last week, and I thought at one point the game should have been over, and Tulsa came back. So it's going to be interesting to see if this defense can step up, and hopefully this offense can get its issues straightened out, so that the defense doesn't have to carry the team too much. We'll see.
Exactly, and then the big thing is, what can they do on the road?
Yeah. Oh, I know. And well, the thing is, this year, and we talked about this the last time. This year is, it's not like they're going to be going and playing in front of 55,000 Tulsa fans.
Exactly.
Or 70,000 Central Florida fans, or whatever it is. This is going to be them in front of a few friends and family playing. So, home and road isn't.
It shouldn't be as big. Yeah, it shouldn't be as big of a difference. It shouldn't really factor in.
Yeah,
but you never know.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. What I at one point in time heard, when bookies make the line, the home team is always a 3-point favorite.
It is. That is correct.
So, if UC was a 3-point favorite at home, that means that basically the teams are even. Yep. But that home field advantage gives them 3 points.
Exactly.
So this would be a year that I would think that may be out the window.
No, I could see that. Yeah, because it's kind of been that way for the NBA playoffs, where they're kind of, you're supposed to, the higher seeds or the lower seeds are supposed to win in advance, but it kind of wasn't that way in with the Miami. So I think I know what you mean. Just the crowd obviously not having them is going to factor in some. But yeah, both those 2 games are important. And then, of course, I'm talking about it way too soon, but after last year and 2 games in a row of losing to them, it's hard to not highlight the heck out of that game on Halloween. Oh, yeah, definitely. It's, I think it could be, that would be a large game. It looms, it hangs over the head. So, that Memphis game, because of the way the season ended last year, but except the bowl game. Because I remember that bowl game went out. The bowl game finished high, and it was great. But, just after losing back-to-back to Memphis, and then what would have been really crazy, because at one point there was a mathematical way where we would have played Memphis, we would have played a third time at Memphis, even if we weren't playing versus Memphis. It was just nuts.
Yeah, and that the way the season ended, those two games, that leaves a very sour taste in your mouth.
Exactly.
And that so we'll see what happens. We will see.
Exactly. So it sounds like they're going to focus hopefully on their defense, which has been doing great for them, and that in the running game. I mean, you got to keep giving the ball. Yeah.
I mean, what the rushing attack is, I believe, rated 26th overall in the country right now. I think you got 178 total rushing yards or average rushing yards per game. So that's good. That's good. They need to focus on that. If Dokes can continue to have big games and not cough the ball up, it will take some pressure off of Dez. Because it could open up play action and give him more time. And play action passing. If you get a good run game, that play action buys you time. It buys your receiver space. It makes the throws easy. So hopefully they can keep relying on that running game.
Actually, I'm very, very happy with what Dokes is doing. I want to see a second back. I want to see a second option. I want to see Dokes with 100, 100 plus, and I want to see a second guy get over 50.
Yeah, that would be good. Another option. We need to have somebody else that, in case something does happen to Dokes, either somebody in his mold or maybe a little bit of a change of pace, something like that. I agree with you on that one.
Definitely. Yeah, because, you don't want to put too much pressure on Ritter. I know he's, been around for a while, and he's a good leader, but it's just, you don't want to, have to put all your eggs in one basket.
Exactly.
Sounds good. Well, the good news is we don't have to pick a game this week because they get a bye.
Yeah, it's the bye week. So let them rest up, maybe get a few things, a few trick plays put in and keep working on that offense.
Sounds great. So definitely for UC fans, tune in again to the UC Bearcats on the Prowl next week. Thank you, Mark.
Thanks, James.